Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Further Beyond Gaming. My name is Cody GT, and in today's video we are continuing the series and we are taking a look at one of my most favorite characters in Honkai, Himeko. So I hope you enjoy the video today. I do hope you enjoy what you see. If you do, go ahead and drop a like, and if you're new, go ahead and consider subscribing. We are so very close to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support. So like I mentioned, we're going to be taking a look at Himeko today, which battle suits from worst to best, I believe, for Himeko. And this was an interesting one, and I really did enjoy doing this one because Himeko, like I mentioned, is one of my most favorite characters, and she has some great battle suits. But if I was to choose the worst one out of them all, I would have to say Ice Himeko or Arctic Krigmesser, just because it's a good battle suit, but it doesn't bring anything out of the ordinary. So it's nothing that's really going to take you, you know, further beyond, no pun intended, than any other Ice Elemental Valkyries. Or I should say that there are better Ice Elemental Valkyries that you can use. You know, she is a psychic type. She's you know, a solid DPS. She does some decent damage. I'm sure if you have the right gear on her as far as stigmatas and weapon, she can do some good damage and put up some good numbers. But outside of that, to be quite honest with you, I don't think she's all that great or all that viable, especially in today's meta. But if I'm being honest as well, I haven't used her all that much. I mean, as you can see, I haven't put too much investment at all into her. She is a cool looking character. She definitely has a great character design, and I was excited when she first came out. But she just didn't really offer too much. Her gameplay style didn't really fit my own. So Arctic Krigmesser, Ice Himeko, I have to put as the worst Himeko out of the bunch just because of utility purposes. I just don't see where you would use her over another either psychic type or another Ice Elemental Valkyrie. But, you know, that's just my opinion, and like always, in the comments down below, let me know what your guys's are and your list for the Himeko battle suits. Now, moving on from there, if I was to go ahead and choose another one, or the second to the worst, I would have to choose Valkyrie Triumph. Now, this one kind of hurts me because if you've seen any of my earlier videos, when I was doing Honkai in the very beginning, I pulled Valkyrie Triumph, I believe, on one of the summon banners, and I absolutely fell in love with her playstyle once I figured it out, and she carried me through a lot of the early game of Honkai. She was absolutely amazing. She was a Valkyrie that I used every single time, but of course, as the game evolved and as I was able to pull more Valkyries, she just kind of fell off, and she kind of became non-usable anymore, or not really that viable. Where I used to use her was in Abyss, where I would do the meta of pulling all the enemies together, and then I would use her ultimate, which would freeze most of them, and then I would just go in with my DPS, and I love that combination. It worked for me really well as a good crowd control, and then I thought she hit really hard at the time. So I absolutely loved my Valkyrie Triumph, to the point where I went out of the way to try and get her applicable weapon, which was the which relic was it? Now I don't even know, it's been so long. The 7th Sacred Relic. I went out of my way to get that weapon, not only because I thought it looked cool, but because it was applicable to Valkyrie Triumph, and come to find out, not a great weapon. This one can definitely use a pre-arms, and that would be fantastic. But anyways, Valkyrie Triumph, she's a decent Valkyrie. Her ultimate is unique and it's good. You could definitely use it, but outside of that, she really doesn't offer that much more. Like I mentioned, if you gear her properly and really put some resources and investment into her, I'm sure she can do pretty good for you. It's just in today's meta, there's better biological types, and just better physical DPS Valkyries that you can use. She's just very niche, and you would have to find a place for her, kind of build a team around her. So Valkyrie Triumph, I would have to put here as the next one. Now, moving on from there, the next Himeko I would have to choose is Battlestorm. Now, I put Battlestorm here solely because of her shield breaking abilities. That's still a really good mechanic to have, and so that's why I put Battlestorm above Ice Himeko and above Valkyrie Triumph. So Battlestorm, again, just like the original three, White Comet, Crimson Impulse, and Valkyrie Chariot, Battlestorm was a part of that original cast that you go ahead and obtain going through the story mode. Now, when I first played with her, I thought she was horrendous because I didn't understand how she played and her attacks and things of that nature. So I really did not like Battlestorm. But as I started to understand the game a little bit better and understand her purpose and her utility and mechanic, I actually started to like Battlestorm much more, especially, you know, during the latter half of the game. Plus, her applicable weapon looks awesome as well, just from a design standpoint. But Battlestorm, like I mentioned, she is mainly used to go ahead and destroy enemy shields, so that way you can take out another Valkyrie and DPS them down and really just destroy them. So Battlestorm has her place, but again, being a biological type, there's just better biological type Valkyries that you can use in today's meta. So she's good, she has her utility, she has her purpose, but in my opinion, you know, she's just kind of fallen off. Once again, I'm sure if you gear her properly, she could do some good damage for you, put up some decent numbers, but I would have to put her here, which is not a bad place for her, to be quite honest with you, being one of the original 4 first Valkyries that you could choose, so or obtain. So Battlestorm, great Valkyrie. I would put her here. Now, the next Himeko, it was close. It was definitely close, but I have to go with Scarlet Fusion. Now, Scarlet Fusion was a fantastic Valkyrie. She still is, but in the early game, she was amazing. She was such a great Valkyrie to use as a damage dealer, as a lightning elemental type. She was one of those where if you pulled her early game, you were extremely excited and you definitely wanted to invest in her immediately, especially being a mecha type at that time. There wasn't too many to actually choose from, and so this made her extremely viable in the beginning. Like I mentioned, she was putting out some great damage in the early game, and she was a really good Valkyrie, and she, like I mentioned, she still is. She still has her utility, she still has her purpose, and she's really good on a lot of different team combinations, especially in Memorial Arena. If you're trying to get a certain score, I know Scarlet Fusion will help. You put Blood Dance on her, and you're able to increase the elemental you know, advantage of your team. So she's great. Early game, she was absolutely amazing. I was over the moon excited when I pulled her at the time, invested in her, and she did carry me for the most part, you know, with her really good burst and just damage in general. But as always, as the game progresses, she's just kind of fallen off. There's some really good mecha type Valkyries out there now that you can use, some really good supporting elemental type Valkyries that you can use as well. So Scarlet Fusion has kind of fallen off, but she will always be good, and she will always have a spot. If you want to throw her on her team, you can find a spot for her. Plus, her character design I always enjoyed. Always is a really nice character design for Scarlet Fusion, for this Himeko in particular. So Scarlet Fusion I would have to put here. And then the next one would be Blood Dance. So the reason why I put Blood Dance above Scarlet Fusion, simply because if you double S Blood Dance, she becomes an absolute monster, dealing out tons of damage, especially burst damage. As you can see on the graph, it's literally off the charts. And she just is an amazing Valkyrie. And like I mentioned, if you double S her, she becomes an absolute monster. So Blood Dance is very interesting, especially playing with her early game. She was one of the better natural S ranks that you can go ahead and obtain. She will definitely carry you through much of the game. I remember back in the day, people hated Blood Dance, or not Blood Dance, Blood Rose Himeko in co-op because of the amount of damage she can do. She literally stole the show every single time. Whoever used Blood Rose at that time was MVP. It didn't matter. She was gonna be MVP because of how much damage she can do in such a short period of time. So Blood Rose became an early game was just an absolute monster, but as the game progressed, once more she fell off just a little bit because of her utility, and her kit just didn't really mesh well with where the game was progressing. But I think she still is absolutely amazing. Like I mentioned, especially if you double S rank her, she becomes a really amazing DPS of a Valkyrie for you. She is great with Blood Dance on her. She becomes a good supporter of the Valkyrie as well. You just gotta kind of manage her ultimate a little bit. But outside of that, I think Blood Rose is still fantastic. Still one of the harder Valkyries to obtain just in general, because for the longest time they did not have her fragments available. And so she was a very exclusive Valkyrie for such a long time. Plus her costumes are absolutely amazing, both her Blood Rose and the Rosy Passion. I wish I would have gotten the Rosy Passion, but you know, it is what it is. And I'm actually working on double S ranking her. Actually, as you can see, that's been one of my priorities, because I really want to put some more time and investment into Blood Rose. But Blood Rose I would have to put there. And then last but certainly not least, and probably to no one's surprise, in my opinion, Vermilion Knight Eclipse Himeko is the best Himeko that we have in the game right now. Hopefully she gets an augmentation here very soon. She definitely needs one. Is, I think, the only one that doesn't have an augmentation. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, she definitely needs one. She's merited or warranted for one. But anyways, Vermilion Knight Eclipse Himeko is, in my opinion, the best Himeko in the game. As a mecha type, you could definitely put her on so many different teams. What makes her the best is her burst damage is off the charts, as you can see on the graph, and her damage in general. And her survivability is really good because she has invincibility frames on her charge attack and on her special, which is insane. Her special you can use multiple times, and the way you use her to be able to get the most out of her is using her charge attacks twice, then her special, charge attack twice, then her special. You just rinse and repeat, and you're essentially invincible during that time period, and you're dealing a massive amount of damage. So and with her being a fire elemental mecha type, she's just very viable on a lot of teams. Absolutely amazing Valkyrie. When she first came out, I remember I wasn't too excited about her. I was excited, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't, like, you know, ridiculously excited like God Kiana or Cyborg Jabronia. But after obtaining her and then playing with her, she became instantly one of my most favorite Valkyries to use, because of how, you know, her gameplay style fit mine. She's a very fast Himeko compared to the other ones. Her strikes are fast, her movement's very quick compared to the other ones. Where the other Himekos, when you evade, they do a twirl. She does a slide or a dash, which is really cool. Her attacks and on her normal and basic attacks are very quick, where the other Himekos, they're oh, I didn't mean to do that. The other Himekos are relatively slow. And so she's just absolutely amazing. You could tell the difference between her and the other ones when you play with them, simply off of that alone. Plus her character design is absolutely amazing and flawless. She looks amazing. She's very unique, and yeah, I have to give it to Vermilion Knight. She is definitely the strongest, and it's warranted. She should be, because if you know, she is the strongest form of Himeko that we've seen so far. But I think she definitely deserves an augmentation. So hopefully we see that soon here in the very near future. But that is my ranking for the Himeko battlesuits from worst to best. Let me know your guys's down in the comments down below. Like I mentioned earlier, I love to see your list, see if they're similar to mine or different. And if they're different, that's always great, because I love to see your guys's take on these battlesuits. But that is everything that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you like what you see. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. And until next time, my boys, until next time, it's your homie Cody GT, and I'm out.